Does Team PC have anything to say?
I just returned, so
I know.
are we sure we are?
We're just talking about things and stuff.
We're still doing the plan, correct?
Yeah, we're still going over various plans and thoughts, and we got like 2 to 3 years before a Terisia, before a caravan would return, and sort of the hopes of keeping Captain Tether Qual here, so that we can present the illusion that Voth is still in the hands of Lady Satha Sevastia.
Does Teresia keep sending supplies here?
It's not so much like supplies being sent here, is that maybe once a year or every other year, a caravan happens to come upon this distant post. And there might be some time in the distant future when the nobles in Teresia stop all of their infighting and shit, and one of them actually cast their eye back here.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be too hard to make them think that Lady Sasha is still ruling here, because I don't think she ever interacts with the caravans anyway.
No. Yeah, that's what Captain Tether Qual had mentioned. We want as much time as possible, because for as awesome and cool and everything and shit that House Vytharia thinks it is right now, if just one of those noble houses caught wind of this...
Yeah. It would be some action, most likely.
And for as defensible as Voth is, most of the defense is concentrated away from the Great Jumping Off Point.
Yep. There is a gate and a wall leading towards the Great Jumping Off Point, but it's not as well maintained as the front one, so to speak.
No.
So we just need a bottomless moat now there as well. Do you think 3 years is enough to dig that?
Oh, labor.
If we start now, we might get close.
Yeah. In this case, the Dark Road was brought up as well, and that should be sort of kept as a secret passage, and we shouldn't legitimately try to expand the Empire in that direction, just in case we ever need it.
Yeah.
There's some basic stuff.
Sure. My notice of the plan was, though, do we still attempt to get a Zan spellcaster here?
I think that's a solid plan. I think that helps to unite our ties further. We would hope that he would be so distracted by his intellectual pursuits that he would not take too close a look at what exactly we're doing. Besides, we're really working on appeasement here with the Xanad's Gisral. We're just too weak to brush them off right now.
Yeah.
Another option might be to have the alchemist, but I think we all agree that that would be a bad idea.
Well, and then we'll talk to her and see if she really is viable for something, but at the moment, I think it's better to try to bring in a Zan.
To that effect, then, one of the actions that we could possibly take is to request aid in some form or fashion from our erstwhile allies, the Zan in particular. Not so much aid itself, but they have powerful spellcasters. And one of them, a lord over here with the promise of a magnificent tower devoted to research and furthering intellectual pursuits, could be of great value in bending the surrounding area to our will, as well as ensuring good relations. The effects of that magic could be incalculable in the amount of advancement we would have, and Rilinid blinks. I suppose we could invite the currently stationed alchemist to stay in this tower instead, but I feel it would be better suitable to invite a Zan here as well.
Well, there nods slowly.
No one thinks of poor Miku.
The current alchemist is so, at the moment at least, distrusted by the council. This would be an interesting plan. We have traveled with a Zan, and he has shown no concept of disloyalty.
They might not all be like that.
I think Miku is more clueless and more curious, but certainly there would be another, perhaps an understudy of the stage with whom I spoke so heavily, who would be interested in intellectual pursuit with a lift of ethics and morality and all of those other little quaint ideas.
Alauneari nods. I hope you will find one then, brother.
Cracks his neck from side to side. If not, then I imagine we could put the last Sevastia in the thing. I'm sure she would greatly appreciate such a resource. In fact, she might be insulted and feel greatly offended, so much so that she would act against the council were she to be denied and see such a tower built for an outsider.
Alauneari frowns, says, a lab for her is certainly something we will consider, but I'm sure she will understand her own situation and not wish to make it even worse. If in time she does prove to be reliable and useful, then certainly another thing like it could be constructed.
The magical assistance and knowledge guarded by the Zyn, combined with the emphasis on improving relations, should ease our own position as we expand into the jungle and slash it and make way for proper things. Good civilization, not mushrooms.
Qual looks around and says, being one of my great tasks then appointed by the council is the safety of the people. So looks around. And the upholding of some of the laws. Some of those things needs to be discussed in the near future as well. So looks around. But I think we should use the upcoming years as effectively as possible. Looking around, we need more information of the jungle. There are still vast areas of it that are unexplored to us.
Indeed.
And we need time to grow.
As much as I would like to dive off and return to explore new things, there is much that remains uncharted. There might be ancient Svirfneblin relics remaining, something more useful and portable than a submersible which can fly across the lake.
Cole looks at the map. If my lords have a wish to exploit yourselves, you are of course entitled to do so. We could also spend some of our resources to send chartered expeditions into areas of the jungle.
I will certainly be spending considerable time there on account of my post. I will also spend enough time. I can identify sort of Rilinid sort of shakes. Points of interest. There might be more to the area we seek to claim than potential farmland. Perhaps a prospector of two, but I can serve just as well. We might really be able to get some industry running. The foundries do need to be constructed, and war will eventually be waged. It may take decades or even a century. But I will not be content to rest here with mushrooms and spiders and little short humanoids with knobby noses and bulgy eyes.
Qual smiles. And Harak says, the council then, it is not often, but sometimes I do get guests that arrive from down below. The area below, I do not know if my lords know very much about it. It is called commonly the Earth Wound. He smiles. So called because the earth is apparently just that, bleeding and wounded down there. I do not know much. Most of the traders avoid the wound itself. It is supposedly an area of fierce elemental activity.
It is. When we made our escape from Terisia, I saw with my own eyes how seismically active the region was. Nothing natural.
Barak nods. Yes, that is what I have heard as well. However, once things have settled down here, perhaps there are a few rumors that could be interesting to follow down below, he smiles. That would be up to my lords to decide, of course.
Rilinid leans forward, putting his elbows. What have you heard, Gorval?
He frowns. Personally, not too much, but I do know that our now somewhat ostracized alchemist has conducted some research and expeditions down there. They all ended in horrible failure, but I do believe she learned of some things that happened down there.
Rilinid blinks and says, "This brings me to a related question." And sort of looking to Gorval and Tarlin and Tether, Rilinid will ask, I know some history of Vothis, of the stupid nobility who fought to position this damn thing here. Was there just no more interest than the jungle itself?
I seem to think Qual says, as far as I have heard, the main concern was the Xan. Many of the ruling nobles thought, as far as I know, that the Xan were dangerous or held some sort of secret power that was too dangerous to confront directly, and therefore should at least be sealed off, as it were. They put us out here to watch against any movement from the Xan. He shrugs. That has been hundreds upon hundreds of years, and they do not seem very keen on moving anywhere. He looks around. Now this place serves as a gate towards Teresia itself. Honestly, he shrugs. Once upon a time, the merciless throne cast its eyes and long shadow all the way up here, and control was very strict. That was long ago, however. I do not know what has happened to Teresia itself, but something seemed to have changed. The frequent patrols and control are gone. He shrugs. It wouldn't surprise me if most of its control of the Earth Wound area has been lost as well.
It is interesting that the merciless throne would fear the Zan so greatly that they would seek to construct this fortress solely to dissuade them from attacking.
Qual seems to consider and it seems odd to me as well. Perhaps there is something the Xan holds that is so dangerous that it actually warranted. It is far beyond my understanding, however. To me, the Xan could pose a grave military threat if provoked, but they do not seem to be overly militaristic or even expansionist.
Rilinid looks to the right side of the table to Tarlin and the Master of the Lash.
They seem to listen, and Tarlin slowly nods while Gorvaharak sort of shrugs.
Alauneari looks forward and says, the Zan do have a being, the creator of themselves, living with them. It is a being of enormous power. It's certainly something to be scared of. I spoke to him briefly, and he did mention future plans of Zan expansion. They should not be dismissed.
Rilinid quirks his head and says, I had felt such a power, Alauneari, but I certainly had not thought it survivable to speak with it. Would not such a feat then as, say, You know, that alchemist whom you spared had mentioned so much of her experiments, including these telepathic mushrooms. Would this being not be interested, therefore, and perhaps could we not curry favor with it by returning these things?
Alauneari seems to think it seemed much more intelligent than such. It did not seem to be interested in favor in any way. It simply considered the drow as a race a thing to humor. It was interested to see what we would do, what I would do, with its attention. It seems to be raised above such concerns, caring little for what goes on this plane. Its ambitions are most likely much more grand than such. Whatever it is doing and planning, it is certainly above the level at which we currently operate.
Well, it pauses and then waves his hand. Yet there is the matter of these great fonts of power we have found located within the jungle. We have seen them for ourselves, and I read as much from the mad Duragar's ramblings, he who held that vile, putrescent orb. To that extent, it might be at the very least worth getting a look at these things the last Sevastia held to see whether they possess the same potential.
Very nice. Research certainly should be done.
Qual sort of sighs and look down at the map. So we have a half-god thing in the city of Xan. Brilliant.
Now you see why we were so keen on allying with them.
Very nice. Yes, it seemed that was what really made it interested in our doings from whatever cosmic things it was currently contemplating. We should not anchor the Zan. They are a storm waiting to happen.
Yeah, everyone seems to consider this and slowly nod. And then Tarlan will say, it seems prudent to me then for a time of consideration and expansion, looking down at the map. How long can we survive without reaching the jungle and establishing farmlands?
Rilinid sort of shakes his head and says, as mentioned, Faster Vault and Vathas are self-sufficient. However, again, we could not survive. We have enough time to make our way to the jungle, begin slashing and burning, and begin constructing farmland. However, and the linchpin will be a powerful entity such as an imported Zan, if you will, who is capable of assisting us in this matter with powerful magics in some form or fashion, utility in that front. We are fighting something we do not understand that has existed longer than any of us have been alive. If we could use that knowledge and harness it to bend the jungle to our will, we will not have to claw through it the entire time.
Well, that would significantly ease our efforts. To grow, we need food.
And the kobolds down in below, or the fisheries of Fastival, insufficient to support a burgeoning empire, hopefully filling with more people. No matter them.
More of the counselor seems to also grumble a bit.
Undesirable, but again, we are but a mewling, helpless, servile babe compared to the merciless throne.
Tarlan nods. Yes, it is one thing to claim for oneself a throne, and another thing entirely to keep it.
It will take quite some time to join and make some sort of cohesion between Varthus and Faustivold, but there are innumerable resources to be found left unclaimed. There is a great mountain to the south which holds some purpose, ancient relics, and a once powerful Zvirf Neblin civilization that built ships that could fly through the air. I might have some sort of scientific relics left for us to pursue and purvey on our own. And there are some other things. Yipping kobolds even have escaped Varthus and have seemingly made colonies. Certainly, given time, we could let them grow and bring them back into the fold.
Harak smiles at this. Non-Tarl looks at the map then and says, it seems to me then that we should call in all of the council's members, and as soon as that is done, have our first proper grand meeting. He smiles. I have not ruled a kingdom before, and I relish at the opportunity. He smiles. Qual clears his throat. There are certain things that needs to be established. Laws, for instance. If I am to patrol the kingdom and ensure the obedience of its masses, how paltry they might be at this point, there needs to be laws set down, principles and such.
Indeed. The two most important I can come up with right now is the forbiddance of any drow to act in any overtly hostile way towards the Zan or the Skisral. At this time, we are weaker than them and require their assistance to survive expansion, particularly the Zan.
Gorval seems to nod and turns to, well, both Rilinid and Alauneari at this point, and he says, this Ixan you have with you, that you apparently have some fondness of, can he be trusted?
Ordinarily not. He has, apparently, to my dear brother, something called a life debt. His life belongs to Rilinid.
Rilinid offers a chuckle. Upon stumbling around in the jungle, very early into our expedition, I encountered this guileless, trustworthy, foolish mycoloid assaulting some sort of crazed being, and it would have certainly been eaten were it not for me saving it from its grasp. Miku seems to possess the utter incapacity of lying or understanding anything of the sort. Neither that or it's a better liar than anyone in this council.
Rahal frowns and then says, well, I hope he has the stomach. He sort of smiles at his own quip, to rule a kingdom.
Alauneari has been bringing Miku in over the passage of time, and I have attempted to assist with culture. Miku seems to really value this life bond above all things. In fact, Miku seems as if he would be fitting in some form or fashion with staring at numbers. That way it might better understand our culture and society by scrutinizing every little bit of our economy. It'll truly learn the most about what grand and wonderful and utterly and wholly peaceful and honest acts we are doing to ensure the safety and prosperity of everyone in the upper house of there.
Gorak seems to consider and then says, it would be sad if discussions around the council table would not be able to be held openly, if you understand my meaning.
Oh, no, they'll be open.
He nods. Very well then.
And if Miku should for whatever reason have a problem, we will see it easily on its face, because it is incapable of lying, and then we will probably eat it.
Arak smiles. Yes. Yes, that would be delightful. And then he sort of shakes his head. Seems to come to his senses, getting out of his reverie. looking down at the map. Very well, then. It seems to me that we should adjourn the meeting for now and reconvene once the full council is assembled. He looks around. As the man in charge of the... he was on his way to say lash, but then changed to morale. I have some business to attend to, I am sure.
But of course. Rilinid looks up, down the table. As a matter of course, I imagine since I am heading into the jungle anyway, I will return with this Vytharia and retrieve both Sandor and Ivy for the council, as well as give Lawless his new charge.
Gorak then looks around and says, excellent. Then, if you would excuse me, my lords, there is much to be done. He gets up, sweeps out of his chair, and leaves the chamber. Quickly, Qual throws a glance at the rest of you, nods, and gets up and exits as well, mumbling about things he has to do. ToN looks around, smiles at you, gets up and says, I suppose I have things to take care of as well.
But of course, Tarlin, I will see you out, as I imagine I am heading that way myself.
ToN gets up, bows towards Alauneari, and slips off.
Rilinid will stand up and begin following behind him.
Yep. He makes his way downstairs.
Alauneari will now begin contemplating laws.
Alright, in this person. If I could leave these goddamn Vytharia back on just one brow and, 20 damn deep nose.
Exactly.
It's a good thing they like me.
Well, yeah, I think we will stop the session here for tonight. It was a long one.
Yep.
There's a lot of things to be done.
Quite a bit.
Yes, I think upcoming session we will have the first kingdom phase. It is up to you exactly how many kingdom phases you sort of want to work through. You do know that you have maybe about 2 years before the next sort of contact from Teresia shows up. Each kingdom phase takes 3 months, basically, with work and plan.
And we need to stay, within our sort of kingdom realm for at least 1 week out of each month. I imagine we're going to be spending a lot of that other time just sort of exploring around, the fungal jungle, to make sure we knock that out the box, Jonas.
Yeah, that can certainly be done.
Since, even with, the expanded, exploration time, if we're going to have, 3 months minus a week, that's a lot of time for scrutinizing.
It is. It is. But yeah, probably we will in the next session probably play through at least 1 year of council time.
That should take no time at all. 1 year is basically just us claiming tunnels.
We'll be able to explore the entirety of the fungal jungle pretty quickly. We might very well dip down into, the great jumping off point.
That is true.
I would like to get some exploration done down there. See what kind of prizes await us. Mm-hmm. Is this the official end of Book 1?
This is the official end of Book 1.
Alright, folks. We actually survived Book 1. 0 player deaths, despite Lady Satha Sevastia's other best.
She did try.
Yep. Oh man, I saw those damage rolls and the attack rolls, and I was like, if 2 of those had hit me, I'd be dead.
Yep.
And I loved it.
She missed all of it.
I thought I was going to have to hero point her. Actually, before that, I thought one of you would fucking kill her. I'm like, I'm going to Tanglefoot this bitch. One of you will get the kill. It'll be great. No one got the kill. I was like, shit.
We killed her eventually, and that's what counts, right?
Yeah. You see, if I hadn't lowered her attack rolls, her attacks would have hit me.
Oh, yeah. Entangle is a nasty condition.
100 gold pieces well spent.
So should we just quickly go through some of the magic items?
Sure.
Alauneari kind of wants this +2 shirt.
I would very much enjoy the +2 shirt as well, and I see more melee combat than and I also have an armor check penalty to worry about.
Sure. At the moment, she has a normal mythical chain shirt, and her AC is very bad.
I mean, I would be willing to, of course, cede that, but it would be a significant upgrade for me on both the armor check penalty and actual AC.
But she'd like some funds at least in some way to buy it all.
You could wear the Ring of Protection +2 and then not cast Shield of Faith on yourself.
That's a possibility.
And I had forgotten that because I have my own Ring of Protection. I forgot about the Shield of Faith not being useful. I mean, so then I was thinking you could save a spell slot for yourself by wearing the Ring of Protection +2.
Yes, that is true.
Zyn's already got a Ring of Protection. A DDS has proven that he's capable of casting Shield of Faith.
Anyone requiring a headband of intelligence?
The Headband of Vast Intellect, I mean, we could sell it, but anyone could just as easily wear the son of a bitch. It's, you might get more value out of the extra skill.
Yeah.
I don't know
you can always make it into a different one.
I don't know what skill the Headband of Vast Intellect currently emphasizes.
The vast intellect is intellect, so it's intelligence for Sebastia's headband.
Right, but the Headband of Vast Intellect emphasizes a skill. Like instead of giving you an extra skill point, it increases the skill.
Knowledge Arcana.
Okay. That might be something that Trislan finds, at least nifty to have. The very least, it's something for her to wear on her head. Looks pretty nice.
If you have time, you might as well sell it and craft one for her casting stat.
I could, sure. I ended up not making anything for Trislan because I was never told anything. Yeah, she never told me anything.
I thought I told you.
You told me, but I'm not going to do something based on...
Oh, no. Yeah. All right.
You told me that's what she was thinking, but, That'd be like if a sheep told me, oh, by the way, DDS wants this and this, and I'm like, what?